So welcome to the healing workshop. We only have 2 people showed up, and so we're having some fun here with who we've got. We've had some great conversations. Damaris here has started a channel, Mary Magdalene, has already brought out a study guide in Spanish, and she has a YouTube channel, Quantum Crystal Healing Temple, and she's just volunteered to channel Mary Magdalene for 5 minutes. And as we're such a small group, we're going to have fun and play as we go. So we're waiting now for Damaris to begin in her own time.
I am Mary Magdalene, your sister, your friend, as this beautiful child opens her heart to her natural gift of channeling, sharing the love. I am pleased to communicate to you through her. And what would I like to share at this moment is my love, my friendship, my companionship. Know that I understand how you feel, that I am always close, ready to support. And this is the time to support in new ways. I am here, surrounding you with love. As I open my heart and the Christ light flows through it, I can connect on a deeper level. I can feel your energy. And I am pleased to support you. At this very moment, my frequency is here to help you to expand on your divine mission, on your purpose. All of you who are awake and sharing your love through your actions, you are ready to expand your light. You are part of the living temple. You are the portals and holders of the Christ consciousness. Be ready, be prepared to open a new door in your consciousness, to allow the divine feminine to shine through you. in love and peace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was quite lovely.
Yes, that was so Mary, that energy, that gentleness, that love, that reassurance, So
Yeah.
I have that every morning now. And yeah, it's a blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing.
It is a blessing. I like my body. It's like I almost feel feverish inside of myself because the frequency, I feel it very strong. I feel like if inside of my body, like a nervousness. I don't know how to explain, but I do feel like the energy is concentrate inside of my body. And yeah, I didn't know that I could channel like that, like I always communicate with angels and all that, with Mother Mary, Jesus, but it was a different kind of communication. It was more telepathic. So when this group approached me and they say, no, Mary Magdalene gave us a temple and she said that you are the channel. And I was like, well, but I've never done that in my life before, not in that way. I do communicate with her, but not like that. And that seems complicated. And I said, I'm going to ask her. And I said, Mary Magdalene, do you think I can do this? And she said, yes. And I said, yeah, but how do I do this? And she said, with love. And then when she said with love, I said, okay, that's no problem. I can do this. It's only love what it takes. So I just sat down and I do need to breathe. It's my way to get into that state. And from there on, whatever comes through. I don't judge. I can hear what she's saying, but I am not going to remember in a few minutes from now, not going to remember in a few hours from now.
Right. Yeah.
I forget, unless there is something very specific. I'm still shaking, my legs are still shaking. Well, the energy is very strong, and I think it's the very beginning that I'm channeling in English and bringing Mary Magdalene. It's not the same to do it in Spanish that to do it in English,
Yeah. Is it harder to be in a second language like English?
Well, the way I experience it is in Spanish. It's perhaps there are words that come easily, and the process of channeling is I am receiving the information that is happening on a multidimensional level, so I have to try to express what I am receiving, and I guess it's only the vocabulary I have.
Yeah.
So I guess Spanish maybe is easier in that way. However, I have noticed that a lot of the information that I receive it in English.
Okay. Thank you. Now, as one of a group of three, normally I don't do workshops under 4, but I'm having such fun with both of you. What do we want to do with time? Do you want a short workshop? Do you want to share? Rita, what are you in the mood for?
I have no idea. What do you typically do?
I give a workshop. I teach the concepts, take questions, have exercises, a typical workshop.
All right. Well, I guess I'd be curious what you'd like to share. And maybe that would generate some questions. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah,
Damaris?
and the exercise, I can't wait for the exercise because it's really good. The exercise.
Okay.
Normally he splits and he creates like a private room. So he puts people into pair and then we talk for a couple of minutes and then we switch. It
That,
brings a lot of healing. It brings a lot of healing.
what's being described there is I'll guide you through, say, healing exercise, and then people pair up in a room and they have 5 minutes to share each way what happened to them in the exercise. So I can definitely give you the healing exercise. We could have it may be a shorter workshop. I could give you some information from the Course in Miracles around healing, and we could take questions. Then we can move into a guided healing exercise, and then you two could share together. What does that feel like?
It feels
That's
great.
fine.
Even that maybe the three of us could share. Since we are only three, why not?
Yeah, we could all stay
Yeah.
together. I won't be doing the exercise, I'll be guiding it, but we could all stay on the screen. And good suggestion, Damaris. I could always chip in my bit if I need to.
So I
Okay.
have an unrelated question. I see you're
Yep.
still recording. Are you intending to do that?
Well, that's interesting because it's got so conversational. This workshop, I advertised that I would record it. I record all of them.
Oh,
But
you do? I thought you didn't since you just turned it on prior to her channeling. That's why I was asking. Okay.
yeah, I don't turn it on while we're sharing at the beginning, but once the workshop begins, I start.
Nice.
I'm not sure what I'll do with this workshop, whether we just keep it private, maybe that's the best. And I send you a copy. If it'd been a full workshop, I would put it on YouTube so the world could see, But this is so different now that maybe we'll just keep it private, and I'll just send you both a copy. What do you think about that?
Go with whatever you feel in your heart.
Okay. And
Maybe I'll decide private or public later.
okay. Yeah, that's a good choice. At the end, I'll say private or public, and I'll go by your wishes. Okay.
Yes.
So if it's private, we can have a lot more fun and say what we like. And
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. So
okay.
Good things.
Nothing. Expect nothing. Okay, folks. So what I'll do is I'll give a few keynotes around Course in Miracles and healing, and we'll do a little mini exercise, which is at the foundation. And then later we'll do a longer exercise, which could deal with a psychological or a physical pain, okay? And then we'll share. But I thought I'd give you a story that happened recently, because it was a healing session. I was working with someone, and there's so much in it which mirrored the Course in Miracles. So this was a young woman who was in the cafe down the road, and she had ringing in both ears, which is a real bother, louder in one than the other. And it began 5 years ago. So we thought we'd have a look at that. And she knew when it started. She was in a relationship with someone, and the relationship was failing. It was breaking up. She was desperate to keep this relationship going. And he said, I'm going to a rock concert tonight. Do you want to come? And it was the last thing she wanted was heavy, loud music. But she said, okay, because she wanted to keep the relationship. Now, at the rock concert, the music was so loud that the following day her ears were ringing, and so was her boyfriend. And during the concert, she thought, I don't want to stay here. This is bad, but I'll upset my boyfriend, so I better stay. And then the ringing was there the day after. The day after, the ringing went away for the boy, but it stayed with her and stayed and stayed. And now it's 5 years on, and both ears are still ringing. Now, she was very angry at the boyfriend and blamed him for her ringing ears. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have ringing ears, So there we go. We see the problem outside ourselves. And the Course says, there are no problems outside yourself. They're just mirrors to what's unhealed in you. And you brought on the illness, nothing to blame yourself for, and you can heal it. So we started working with this anger and bringing up, it was you that decided to go? Well, yes. And it was you that decided to stay? Yes. So you had a choice, didn't you? And you could see she didn't want to say this. She still wanted him to be the problem. But she got softer and softer. And then she said, God, this is weird. One of the ears has stopped ringing. and the other ear is only ringing about half as much. She said, this is amazing. And I said, how do you feel, towards the man? She said, I feel softer. I do feel softer. And I see I'm partly to blame. Yeah, not all to blame, but partly to blame. That's why one ear was still ringing. And at the end, I gave her a free copy of my forgiveness book, you see. And then she had to leave the country. And 2 weeks later, I got this email. She said, I'm reading your book and I'm crying because I know what you're trying to do, Michael. You're trying to make me complete my forgiveness, and I won't. He was wrong, Bill. I know I was wrong a bit, but he's really part of this, and I can't forgive him. I said, okay, And so you got one ringing ear, which is better than two ringing ears. But she, there's a line in the Course in Miracles, would you rather be right or happy? And she wanted to be right. He's to blame, at least for one ear. And I thought, oh, so many things in that, seeing it partly, forgiving partly, but not all. I still want someone to blame out there. I'm creating my own illness. I could see that because I got rid of one ear. And I thought, yeah, great story. She's probably still got one ear ringing. And while we're dealing with ringing ears, when I was living in Scotland, someone was so keen for a healing, they flew from Holland to Scotland and came to my place because she had ringing ears. And with her, it was different. She got to a point of seeing that her life had to change. She had to take a different direction. This is what she was hearing, and it frightened her. I think it was losing a relationship or changing a job. But she decided in the end, I must walk that path, and no matter what happens, lose my job, lose the boy, I must do it. And all the ringing stopped. And you think, look at that. It's not me healing people. I'm getting people to heal themselves, to see how they're thinking. And if they would change their minds, if they would forgive, if they would let go. And as I got more time, I'll throw in one last story. Sometimes you can end up healing people without knowing they actually are sick or that you're doing anything. I notice when this happens to me, I'm in a good space, I'm feeling peaceful and happy. Now, what happened here, I was at Findhorn, this spiritual foundation, or the goal of a spiritual foundation. We're all egos still trying to be spiritual. And I was asked to give a demonstration of laying on hands, laying them on the head and on the heart to sort of heal things. So I just asked for a volunteer, and this woman came up and sat on a chair. I said, well, in a moment you can practice. You can put the hands above the head, in front of the eyes and the throat. And while I was doing it, her right hand was beginning to close into a fist, which meant nothing to me. And I was about to tell him to go and pair up and do this. She said, Michael, I have chronic arthritis in my right hand. I've had it for over 2 years. I can't close my hand, only a little bit. I'm a golfer, so I have to pad out my golf clubs so I can hold them. And look, and she held up with this clenched fist, you see?
Wow.
I wasn't trying to do anything, I said, what happened? She said, I'm a retired nurse. It's been 2 years now. And before I was retired, I got so angry at my patients that all I wanted to do was punch them. And I thought, it's time I retired and for 2 years, I've been trying to forgive my anger at patients. They don't do what they're told. They don't take their medicine, they can be abusive. And she said, why do you laying that hands on it? Things felt so different. I let it all go. And she instantly healed chronic arthritis. He did it. Okay, we contributed some light and love in the group, and she used that and she changed her mind. And she was with us for another week. And every time I walked past her in the corridor, she'd go, the hand hadn't gone back again. And as long as she could keep that up, which reminds me that Jesus comes through many channels now, And I think it was in the Way of Mastery books, channeled through JM, when he said, the Bible correctly says, I healed many. But what it doesn't say, that for most of them, within a few days, weeks, or months, they were back where they started. Remember, in the Bible, I used to say, and go and sin no more. And what happened is their thought forms, which I temporarily got rid of, they brought back their unforgiveness. And the disease started to come back. He says just a few kept it because they changed the way they saw the world. They sinned no more.
Wow.
Powerful,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's powerful.
Forgiveness. And what I've learned about forgiveness is I'm one person that I have done great work in forgiveness. I have forgive a lot, but sometimes we're aware, we are conscious about certain things, but sometimes we are not even conscious about things that we haven't forgive yet. And today, I went to Costco, and when I was exiting Costco, I was thinking about it, and I thought, I think there's something there that I haven't forgive. I like to observe my things, and my story with relationships, romantic relationships, was not fun at all, not at all. But I have a happy life. I'm single and very happy. But today at Costco, I'm seeing a couple in front of me on the line, and I'm seeing all the things that I don't like in couples, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, and I'm so happy that I'm single. And I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with that. I'm so happy this, that. And then I kept walking outside, and I was still thinking about it. And then I stopped myself and I said, hold on a minute, what are you saying? I look at myself and I clearly saw I haven't forgive. I have done forgiveness work, but certainly there is something still there because I'm still single. I'm still thinking that I am so happy that I'm single. I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with that. And I'm still seeing all what is wrong with couples and how, all the negativity of being in a couple. That's not true. There are good couples out there. There are good men out there too. So why I'm still focusing on the men that are not right or in the marriage that are not happy when obviously there are couples that are happy. So it is possible to have a good relationship, But if I don't have that, not that I'm searching to be in a couple, the fact that I feel so happy being single, and the fact that I see negativity in couples is just a sign for me that there's something within me in my subconscious mind that needs to be free and to get it out, forgive whatever I need to forgive, let it go
Oh,
and be free for real.
that's beautiful, Damaris, because what you're saying is that you're focusing on the couples that are not working, and there's a lot of them, and that's where your energy is. So that's where you stay, isn't it? You can't attract the ones that work. It's like
Exactly.
you could focus on the odd good couple and say, isn't that beautiful? I would like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and the other way, we do it for protection, don't we? Say, look, there's another one not working. Thank God I'm not there. I'm going to stay away because it could be painful if I go once more back into a relationship. So your ego saying, yeah, that's good. Don't go. It's painful.
And
100%.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of something from the course about there's no justification for, I don't know, judgment or condemnation or whatever. There's no justification for it. But we can always find, a reason to justify not liking someone or something.
Yeah. Always.
But
So beautiful. No one's perfect, so there's still something you can find, you know, you can still find.
Well, either that or we're all perfect. It's just the behavior.
Yeah.
You know, we're perfect. We've just learned some bad habits. That's all.
Right. Ah, nicely said. Okay, I'll give a few keynotes on this sort of subject as well. We can always chip in and share our own experience or have questions. So this is based, as you know, Course in Miracles. So from the Course's perspective, healing is the only purpose of the world. It talks about our daily life as a classroom of forgiveness. It doesn't have any other purpose. It's not to have children or run workshops or write books. All of those are our classrooms of forgiveness. For someone else, it's sweeping the street is their classroom. Another one is a mother bringing up children. They have more than one classroom, of course, like you, Damaris. But that's the whole purpose, you know, to find peace, to be healed in this world. And we have to tread a path. There's a section in the text that says paths go nowhere, but you do have to walk one. So I picked a path. I've been a father, so relationships, but teaching's been a main path, healing. And I could end up as the world's best healer, believing that, and get completely lost in that, because that's not the purpose. The purpose is for me to learn the most lessons I can, teaching workshops or working with healing with people. So I'm always at peace doing that. So again, healing is the only purpose. And the definition the Course gives is health is inner peace, which means you could be dying of cancer and be in peace. And the Course and Jesus would say, you're healed, which to the world is absolutely crazy because they're so fixated on the body. And it's the body that has to last. But no, inner peace. And healing is really the ending of the separation from God's spirit. Once we heal the separation, we haven't never separated, we believe we have. And we're asleep in heaven dreaming this. There's a line in the Course, you dwell not here, but in eternity. You travel but in dreams while safe at home. So once we sort of end the separation, that is also healing. Course also uses the term accepting the atonement, waking up from the dream. So once we're awake, there will never be any reason for sickness again, unless we're one of the special gurus that take on the sickness of their disciples, like Ramana Maharshi. So what we need to learn is being and not doing. The trap of this world is doing, doing, doing. We may see through the materialistic trap of chasing power, prestige, money, but then you could easily get caught up in the spiritual trap. You know, I've got crystals to hold, I've got meditations to do, I've got visualizations, I must go to 3 workshops a week, you know, I must read 10 spiritual books a month, you know. You can end up with spiritual materialism quite easily. I know by the age of 35, I've read 1,500 spiritual books. And I'm trying to bring out all the bits I like and make my own spiritual path as if I knew the way to God. There's a lesson in the workbook. You do not know the way to God. God knows the way to you. Just get out the way and he'll come through. No. I know the way. 1,500 books. I know the way. So there's a need for sort of slowing down, being, receiving the guidance. And for years, I followed a particular non-dual spiritual path, but guidance I get coming from a friend saying that only works for a few people. That's not your way. And eventually I saw that. The source of healing in the Course is called the Holy Spirit. And once we let that into our minds and heart, it'll heal up and guide us how to heal others. Techniques in themselves don't heal, though they can be very helpful in conveying one's love, one's kindness, one's affection. But some people, and I used to believe that techniques had a power. No, they don't. They convey the power of the healer, of the friend, you know, convey their love. people, the Course says anyone could be healed of anything instantly if they could just turn to God, turn to the Holy Spirit and say, I'm here. But it also said for most people, the shock would kill them, because to be healed instantly, you'd have to instantly drop your victimhood. You have to instantly drop your justified anger. The woman with the hearing would have to instantly drop hating her boyfriend. And she don't want to do that. And if that was forced upon us, Jesus said the shock could kill you. I can't live without my victim. I can't live without my justified anger. You know, don't you take that away from me. So the healing of the body is actually a side effect of forgiveness. One, because all the problems are in the mind, and the problems in the body are just a shadow of the unforgiveness in the mind. So once you forgive in the mind as well as the peace, then the body gets healed. Now, if that woman had taken 6 months to forgive the boyfriend, it would take her 6 months for the ringing to go away. The nurse chose instant forgiveness, and so she got instant healing. The body has to follow. If you think of the body as a projection on a cinema screen, if you suddenly change the film in the projector instantly, that body will be different on the screen. And that's what happens when you forgive. You just change that film. And miracle. How can you have arthritis one moment and not the next? Because there's no arthritis on the second film. And that's very much how they portray our world, as a gigantic cinema screen. And we think it's all very real. And people who wake up sort of find they're in a cinema and they turn their head and they see a projector behind them. And they think, my God, everything in the projector is appearing on that screen. I change the film, that changes. Most of us don't like what's on the screen, so we grab a ladder and we walk up, we put the ladder on the cinema screen, and we try and change the image. Won't work. We have to go to the projector, to the mind, and forgive there. So all physical and mental illness are reflections of unforgiveness in the mind. And the universe will tell you every moment what's in your mind. It's reflecting back to you. There's Damaris' good example, seeing another negative couple. You're looking for negative couples. But you could look in and say, oh, I find love. There must be love out here as well. And you'll see somebody pat a dog and say, oh, that's loving. Or somebody helps an old lady across the road. And you say, oh, that was loving. And you keep seeing the loving things. And then you bring them into your life. So that's a few keynotes. Any comments from my large audience here?
Yeah, like you said, is letting go of that mentality, that anger, that resentment. I think in my case it's probably deep-rooted anger and resentment that is not conscious, but in the subconscious. But it's opening that door so we can truly be free from that. Because I mean, it's heavy, and you don't want to experience that. You really want to be free. But knowing myself, knowing the big work that I've done on myself and everything, I I am humble in the sense like, wow, even for me it's difficult. even that I try, even that I do a conscious effort to to forgive and to live in the love, which I do the best I can, but I understand, and it can be frustrating in the sense like, but why I don't forgive? Why there's a part of my consciousness that is resistant to forgive? It's so much easy to forgive and let go and be at peace and be relaxed and having a wonderful relationship, you know. I wish, that is my wish, to get to that level. um, but I don't know. I don't know when that is going to happen. I don't know how that is going to happen, but I am open to receive the healing. I am open to receive the guidance, and I want to be free. And I want to stop seeing the negative couples and the things like that. I really want to free myself from that. And like Jesus said, well, you have to be ready to let go of that. Well, I want to be ready to let go of that. I really want.
But that's the powerful prayer, isn't it? If we really mean that, it will happen. When I was studying for a workshop years ago, the stages of spiritual awakening, I was trying to find out what the great teachers, what was number one? What was it that caused awakening, you know? And I had a few great teachers to study: Jesus, the Course in Miracles, Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, other beings who I thought, my God, they've made it. And they all said the same thing. Adyashanti, they all said the same thing. The most prime approach is to desire it above everything else and mean it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have other desires, but if you desire to wake up, you desire to heal, you desire to be at peace above everything else, it will happen, because it has to happen, because you're such a creator. It's like, I think sometimes there's this universal photocopier or 3D printer. It's just listening to everything we say. So it might be hearing, I'll never have money. And if I do get money, I'll probably lose it. I'll never have a better car. You know, that's the way it is. And the universe is saying, no problem. We can arrange no money. And if you win the lottery, we'll get you to lose it. And we'll make sure you just go rusty cars, because that's all we hear from you. So we don't judge anything. We just give you what you want. And then we hear, I want to be healed. I want to wake up. I want to be at peace. They say, no problem. We'll give them the Course in Miracles. She can channel Mary Magdalene. She can have difficult opportunities where she could want to change her mind. We can arrange all that for her. And they all said the same thing. What was it in the Course? I can't quote it exactly, you know, but if you desire it above everything else, it will come at the speed you want it. It could come instantly, because there's no time in heaven. You could wake up and be a saint now, but that's too shocking for most of us. You were saying earlier, Damaris, you know, why do we choose the painful way instead of the forgiveness way? And the solution, what they say is that, well, a lot of us, part of us is still separate. We're individual, we're special, we're egos, you know, when we compare ourselves. Now, if we were to forgive everything, what would happen is your ego would disappear, because that is coming from the ego. And who you think you are would instantly disappear. You no longer see yourself as a mother, a woman, a Course in Miracle teacher. You wouldn't even see yourself as a human. And you go, I don't think I'm ready for that. You'd see yourself as an eternal formless spirit, the way God created you. And you say, I don't think I'm ready for that. I've got some plans. I've got some travel. I want to be more famous. I want 2 more children. I've got another book to write. And they say, okay, go on, go on. There's such a haunting end to one of the lessons where Jesus says, how long, O Holy Son of God, how long will you play with these sharp-edged ego toys? Will you come home today? How long, O Holy Son of God? Almost makes me cry sometimes when I read that, you know. We could be enlightened this instant, but that's okay. We're not quite ready. We got plans. Everyone nodding silently here. For those who've got the audio version, if it ever comes out, we're all going, yep, yep, yep.
Pondering what you're saying and thinking about, because I'm going through some of this, a lot of need for forgiveness for sure. But as I was listening to you, Damaris, the thought that came to me was, if I let go all that justification for judgment or condemnation or whatever, then I drop my defenses. And what happens? Am I left vulnerable? There's a bit of a fear of the unknown. Am I opening myself up? What am I opening myself up to? You say. So that's what was kind of going through my mind a little bit.
Amen, sister. Yes, we've got so many defenses. This is the ego's world. So there's a lot of pain. There's 3 years of COVID. We got in our memory banks, we got failed relationships. We need some defenses here. I mean, I can't trust God. He's too busy running the universe somewhere else, perhaps, He's not going to look after my bank account or some abusive person or the next door neighbor. And we just build them up from the moment we're born, a whole range of defenses to get through childhood. And then we don't drop them. I developed the rebel to survive my family. It took to the age of 35 before I saw I didn't have to have that. But we just sometimes keep that from childhood because their childhood is so traumatic. And so I can't trust this another way, What do you mean to be defenseless? Jesus, they really trample all over me then, they go, and I was bullied as a kid, but I was fearful. That's why they bullied me. I wasn't going around feeling I don't need defenses. And somehow I broke through that in a day. I don't know how it happened, but I changed my mind. It's a funny story. In junior school, bullied. And then we took the 11+ exam, which would send me to a whole different school. And half the bullies came with me. I thought, I'm free of them now, I don't know how it happened, but I changed. I was in the playground early on in the new school. And one of the bullies saw me. I saw this smirk come over his face. There's Michael. Let's get him, And I realized I wasn't afraid of him and everything had changed. I actually played with him. As he approached me, I put on a rather fearful expression. As he got near me, I just opened up and I looked at him in the eyes and I was at complete peace. And I saw his startled expression. And he turned right and he walked away. And
Wow.
I was never bullied. I had shifted something, It probably took me years of bullying to shift it. I had all those defenses and I didn't want to go to school, but I had a miracle. And I thought, wow. So what the Course is saying, you don't need all your defenses. Let spirit in. Ask for help. We'll show you in every circumstance how to be. Put your defenses away. They only hurt you.
I also had a thought as you were speaking earlier, Michael, about, I have this book to write, I have this to do, I have travel to do, blah, blah. I just was having that conversation with myself a few days ago because I am in the midst, as I'm working on processing these forgiveness things that I need to go through lately with some stuff that just happened in my life. I actually had those thoughts going through my head and thinking, if I completely forgive, oh no, it wasn't about that. It was about not being afraid anymore, conquering my fear. And I do feel stronger in terms of speaking up about things that I need to speak up for. But I had the thought that, is that my life lesson? And if that's my life lesson, will I be done with this life? But I'm not ready. I also have a book to write. I have some courses to take, and I have some other things I need to do. So it's interesting that you would mention that, because I had that thought, that, wait a minute, not ready to end it yet,
I just had a line come into my head when you were speaking. Heaven must wait.
Heaven must wait.
I've got something far better than heaven. I've got this book, I've got this travel.
I know. Oh my goodness.
And in the back of our mind is, heaven sounds boring. It's all peace and angels and harps, and I don't think I want that, actually. I want a bit more excitement, a bit more living. That's a couple more lives, heaven. And when you talk or when you listen to Jesus and the Buddha, they're in a state of peace and joy and creativity. 7:24, except they've got no bodies and they've got no time, you know. And they say, why did I wait so long to wake up, you know? And that's where we are, you know. That was the separation. There's something better than unity. And I'm going to have time and space and planets and suns and stars and boyfriends and books. And I'm going to do better than heaven. I tell you, God, we're going to get something better than what you made. Would you rather be right or happy, says God? Right, we all say. Bring on the next life. I'll get it right then. I think one of our famous speakers, Eckhart Tolle, says, on our gravestone is written, didn't have enough time.
Ah! That's funny. Didn't have enough time.
Another life, we'll get that book done and another book.
Mm.
Next life, I'll have a workshop with 100 people in, not 2. I can come back to that. But I tell you, I'm enjoying this workshop much more than some others. I really love this workshop. How about you too?
Yeah. We are having fun. It was meant to be. It's always the way it is meant to be.
It's to be, isn't it? Yeah, wonderful. We're doing, it's 11:11. Look at that.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I have 7-Eleven. Okay.
One of our
You're 11:11 in the morning, I guess, huh?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm feeling is that pretty soon we'll move on to an extended forgiveness exercise, because a lot probably will come up and we can chat. And as there's 2, just so I could tailor the exercise, is the healing and forgiveness, Damaris, Rita, more for psychological relationship problems or more physical problems in the body? What would be your choice if I was to focus?
Make it both.
I can make it both. I can
Yeah.
make it both. But if you know what you want to work on, it can make it more focused.
Yeah, for me, more the psychological, emotional. I mean, I have a little physical thing that's going away. I hurt my back a few weeks ago, but that's going away. But there's a whole psychological, emotional component that's been going on lately. And so that for me would be the primary focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Well, I think for me both, because since we are together, my body is just in pain. Like I have pain here, my back is hurting, everything is hurting. So it's physical, but it's related to the emotional part.
Okay, no problem. I do this sometimes. I bring up both because they're mirrored in the body anyway. Your psychological issue, Rita, will be in the body somewhere. So we can do both. No problem with that. Okay, I'll be recording the exercise, so one could always play it back afterwards, you know. And then all 3 of us will then share, listen to whatever's coming up. Okay, this is great. So get nice and comfortable, because this could take about 15-20 minutes. Anyone need the toilet first?
No.
Okay. I'll mute you so there's no noises coming from your end. I'll mute you at the end. Okay, so close our eyes. Just take a moment to feel the chair that you're sitting on, the floor under your feet. Become aware of any sounds around you. Then take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And with the next breath, just breathe into your legs, tense the muscles of the legs. As you breathe out, release the tension. Breathe in and tense the muscles of the stomach. Breathe out and relax. Breathe into the arms, make fists of the hands. Let go. Breathe in, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And relax. If your neck feels a bit tense, you can move your head around. Surrounding you is such a presence of healing, of love, a presence that understands everything about you, much more than you understand yourself, but it has absolutely no judgment of you. It sees beyond the personality, the nightmares. It sees the beautiful spirit that you are. It just wants to wake you up, but it needs your permission. So send out a silent prayer now. Use whatever words you want: Jesus, Mary, Holy Spirit, God, Goddess. I invite you into this healing session. Please guide me and let me receive your healing wisdom and love, or whatever words you want. If it helps, you can imagine it as a beautiful ray of light, perhaps a golden light, coming down into your whole body, into your heart, into your head. Perhaps you prefer to hold a hand, an angel, Mary, Jesus. They're really with you now, and it's their joy to be invited. They know all your nightmares, but they know you're the Christ. They know you're a beautiful, eternal, formless being. It's their joy to get you to remember that, and that will heal you. Feel their love, their light filling your body from the toes upwards. Now, you already may know what you want to heal, but you may also want to check to them and say, please, show me, what is it I need to heal? They may give you a picture of a person or some thought form you carry about yourself. Don't worry if nothing comes, but just ask. What is it I need to be free of? I may have carried it so long. Today I want to be free. And make whatever it is real for you. If it's physical pains in the body, choose one area that perhaps is the most painful. A psychological problem, bring back the time perhaps you were with this person. That's where you had an argument. Or it may even be about yourself, a lack of self-worth. Make it real. Feel it. It's all right to be angry, to be hateful. Make it real. Feel it in your body. Try not to judge what you're seeing or feeling. This is a child you've created. It too wants to be free. No right or wrong, no good or bad. If you can, put an accepting hand over that area of the body where you feel the pain, if that's possible. Just say to it, I accept you. You don't have to change or go away. I accept you. It's not used to being loved. I want you to become like a scientist. Let's look at this pain. How large is it? Can you see where it starts and stops? If it's all over the body, it's all over the body. You just observe it. If it's in one area, what's the shape of this pain? If it's over the body, you can just see the outline, just sitting there like some piece of painful clothing you're wearing. And you're working with acceptance. You want to understand it. It is your creation. How deep does it penetrate the body? Is it mainly on the surface? If it does go deep, how deep? What about the texture? Is it light or heavy? Is it very dense? Perhaps the texture changes. You get any colors when you look at it? Does it feel any hotter or colder than the rest of the body? Now we'll go through that again, but briefly. There may be some changes. Don't worry if there's not. Any change in the size of it? Any changes in its shape? Any changes how deep it goes into the body? Any changes in temperature? Any changes in texture? Any changes in color? This area or areas, they carry a feeling with them. They carry an emotion with them. Sense into that feeling, emotion, and again, accept it. Don't try and change it. Angry, sad, bitter, frightened, hatred. Let that be symbolized by something. It could be anything, an animal, a small child who represents this emotion. anything that just comes to mind. Your teacher is forming in front of you. Ask it. How are you feeling? Why did I create you? And listen. It's not used to being listened to. It might even be a little angry at you to begin with. Ask it. Why am I afraid to let you go? Why do I keep you? How do you serve me? If it's a little child, you might want to pick it up and hold it in your arms and continue listening to it. If it's crying, dry its tears. Your listening is your love for it, your acceptance of it. Ask yourself a question and be honest. Do I want to be free of this pain? Is it time to be healed now? And if I give it away, my life will change. And is that okay? Can I take that? And if not, and that's okay too, you can make this being, this child, this animal very small and put it into your heart and look down at it with love and acceptance for the time that you want to release it. Just spend some time with this. Is it time to be free now? Or not quite yet? I'll give you just a moment with that. Be honest. Either answer is fine. Are you prepared to take how your life would be if you let it go? It may appear there are sacrifices there, but that's the ego speaking. Are you ready for a different life? Because you'll have a different life if you let it go. Can you trust that? Maybe a bit bumpy to begin with, but can you trust that it will take you to deeper peace and happiness? If you're not ready, that's fine. Put that little being in your heart. Look down with love. That in itself will help heal it. Is it time to be free? And if you really feel that's true, call in your guides, call in the angels. They stand around you with hands open. And this little being, you can say to it, thank you for serving me. I felt I needed you. Perhaps you protected me. Thank you. Thank you for what you gave. But you want to be happy, and I want to be happy. Go and play with the angels. Go and play with Jesus. Go and play with Mary. They'll take you to other little beings that have been released. You can have a party. And saying goodbye and saying thank you, it runs off into their arms and skips away off to other little beings who have been released. And in the space that it's left in you, a beautiful light comes shining down and fills that space. So you no longer feel vacant there. And you feel a power come into you that will take you on your next steps into life. Now take what time you need to feel complete with the exercise as far as you've gone. There is no rush. And when you're ready, just bring yourself back to the room.